Konnichiwa, street dogs. Watashi wa Hedikim desu. Alright, so the thought. So, this thought is titled Energy Vampires. So, for me in life, the ideal situation is when you're kind of surrounded by people and you surround yourself with people who are generative. And what does generative mean? Generative means they generate more energy, good vibes than they take. And there's some people who are just like energy vampires who just suck out your energy and your blood and your soul. And essentially, like the heuristic is simple. After an interaction with somebody, do you feel more energized and alive, or do you feel more exhausted and tired? So, people who are energy vampires, I don't blame them. I mean, there's a lot of people who, experience some sort of trauma or bad things in their life, whatever, which causes them to become energy vampires. And so it's not really their fault. Like, I never really cast, like, blame on nobody, because for me, blaming people, it's kind of besides the point. It's also a waste of energy. So, when you often blame somebody, you're committing a small revenge against them or society or against yourself, because you could scapegoat and you could allay blame onto somebody else rather than taking what I prefer, more like extreme responsibility over your life, even if it's not your fault. This is the funny thing, is that like people like to blame others for everything that they hate about in life or whatever, but the issue is often there's like no one to blame. And then the reality is the world is cruel, the world is racist, classist, sexist, all the isms exist, classism, blah 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 blah. And so like what I'm kind of curious about is, okay, let's acknowledge that all these bad inequities exist in society, and also let us acknowledge that society will always be unequal. The good thing is, certainly through your actions and through society in general, over time the world becomes less unequal, but there will always be some sort of level of inequality, and I think it's human nature to want to gain some sort of ascendancy. And that's why at the end of the day, I don't like to admit it, but I'm still probably an elitist meaning that there are some people who are elected who are higher than others and stuff like that. And it's not really a money thing, because you could be making $40,000 a year and more elite than the guy making $500,000 a year. To me, elitism is based more on your personal courage, your audacity, your chutzpah, I think they say in Yiddish, or in Jewish culture, and essentially having the balls to pursue strange, more aberrant paths in life. But anyways, so my general thought is the best way to thrive in life is to disregard negative people, negative thoughts, whatever, and rather focus on your positive energy, your positive thoughts, your positive generative thinking, thoughts, modes of living, whatever it may be. And to me, this is a much better way to live, because I think the biggest problem is when people, like when you cast too much blame on other people's X, Y, and Z, the problem becomes you lose control and ownership of your life, and you fall into what psychologists call learned helplessness. Learned helplessness, there's like Stanford or something, they kept shocking the dog, and after a while it just doesn't fight back no more. It just learned to just like, oh, okay, this is shitty, there's nothing I can do about it, and then you just kind of kowtow and just become passive, and you just like let other people fuck with you. So Nassim Taleb in his book Skin in the Game has an interesting heuristic, or an interesting saying, or code of ethics is, first, don't give shit, like don't give other people shit, but if other people give you shit, don't take shit. Which means treat everyone with respect and kindly and whatever, but the second someone gives you shit, actually be very aggressive and fight back and bite back. And perhaps this is a robust way of living life, because it kind of goes to the game theory notion where, you know, the whole tit for tat, and I think I like the notion of generous tit for tat or forgiving tit for tat. So first, okay, this is my theory about human interactions. First, treat every human being with respect, kindness, generosity, love, whatever. But then let's say they do you dirty. Then be generous and be like, okay, maybe I misunderstood it, or this person, or the situation, and then be generous again. And be nice and whatever. If they do you dirty twice, then like just fucking give them the cold shoulder. I think there's a lot of things in wisdom and knowledge and stuff like that that I have more nuance. Like when I think philosophically, I like nuance. However, when it comes to like practical ethics, like how I interact with other human beings, I actually prefer it black and white. It's like either I treat you with 100% love and I devote my whole being to you, or I ain't gonna devote nothing to you. And it's like, it feels a little bit sad and cruel, but I think it's a much more effective way to live life. So, for example, with your friends or acquaintances, whatever, either treat them like a super acquaintance, or just like, you know, just kind of like, you know, your buddy on the side, or take them deep into your heart and soul and care like them, like there's like one soul dwelling in two different bodies. And that's the way I try to treat Cindy and my loved ones and stuff like that. But anyways, because there's only so much of yourself that you could give and devote to others, and unfortunately the pie in terms of human life or human energy, it's limited. Like you cannot indefinitely care for all these other human beings, like, because first of all, basic things, the ultimate creative constraint in life is death. You know, it don't matter if you're Peter Thiel or, you know, all these other Ray Kurzweil or these other nut jobs who want to live forever and upload their consciousness to the cloud. Ain't gonna happen. And even if it did happen, to me philosophically, I just find it quite repulsive. You know, personally, I endeavor to try to live to be 130, 140 in excellent health, but like certainly at a certain point you should and you must die, or else, you know, it's like the circle of life, right? Like the Mufasa, you know, the circle of life. We need to die in order to give birth or give opportunity to other people. Like imagine the tenured professor who would never die, never give up his or her position. That'd be bad. Or imagine if, you know, Jay-Z lived forever and then no one could ever take his throne either. So anyways, life, in order to live, you must also die. It's kind of like that, like Zen Taoist dualism thing. I don't know if it's dualism or not, but you cannot have one without the other. Like even you cannot have the sweet without the bitter. You cannot have the joy without the sorrow. So whenever people try to get one emotion without the other, you fall victim to what Nietzsche calls hemiphilia, like hemisphere, like one half becomes paralyzed. You know, there's some people that like half the face is paralyzed, kind of like a Two-Face or a Scarface or whatever. Two-Face, yeah, Two-Face and Batman. So perhaps the best joy in life is to not be afraid of sorrow and injustice and inequalities, but certainly, like, we already have enough negative shit to deal with. Try to cut out negative people who are the crabs who try to pull you down, and just surround yourself with people who generate more and give more and contribute more, so we can all continue to grow and give new zest to life for everybody.